Hello from Mindset Daily, wishing you a day full of health, peace, and happiness. Thank you for watching the Mindset Daily channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support us. Thank you so much.
Have you ever noticed that the loudest voice in the room isn't always the one people respect? Have you ever wondered why some people command attention without even trying? And have you realized that true confidence doesn't shout, it speaks in silence? You don't have to raise your voice to be heard. You don't need to boast about who you are to be known. And you certainly don't have to chase approval to be respected. When you walk with quiet confidence, people notice. A calm, grounded spirit carries a weight that speaks louder than any words. There's a big difference between empty noise and genuine presence. The world is filled with shouting, arguing, and performing. But those who know their value isn't tied to applause have no need to perform. They carry a steady gravity, a silent strength. You can feel it the moment they enter a room. Not because they make a scene, but because they don't need to. Their presence speaks before their mouth ever does. And that's where real strength is found, in silence that doesn't need to prove itself. When you live from that place, when you carry quiet confidence, respect follows. People don't admire the loudest voice. They admire the steady one, the consistent one, the person who doesn't bend with every opinion. That kind of person may be overlooked for a season, but when storms come and panic rises, they're the one others turn to. They're the one others follow. Because real leadership doesn't demand attention. It commands it through character. You don't need to tell people who you are when your life already shows it. When your actions align with your values and your posture reflects peace, people respect you. Not because you forced them to, but because you left them no other choice. There's something unshakable about a man or woman who no longer seeks to impress anyone. When you stop needing approval and start choosing to live by your principles, your purpose, and your discipline, you carry an energy this world cannot ignore. But here's the truth most people won't admit. It takes courage to stay quiet in a loud world. It takes courage to be still while others rush, to remain unseen for a season, to do the hard work in silence, and to grow without demanding credit. Yet if you stay rooted, if you keep walking with steady strength, your fruit will eventually speak for you. The right people will notice, and the right doors will open. Not because you shouted for attention, but because your preparation made you undeniable. So many chase recognition and end up overlooked. But the one who sharpens their mind, their discipline, and their soul patiently becomes the one who stands tall when the moment arrives. True confidence isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself. It simply shows up. It looks others in the eye without fear. It listens more than it talks. It doesn't chase, it attracts. And when you walk with quiet confidence, you don't just command respect. You inspire others to rise higher. This kind of strength doesn't need to flex. It simply exists. It doesn't boast or compete. It completes. You don't need to explain yourself to those who don't understand. When you know your worth, silence becomes your strategy. You choose when to speak, and you choose where to invest your energy. That choice alone will set you apart in a noisy, distracted generation. People don't respect desperation. They respect direction. They respect restraint. They respect those who move through life without needing validation at every step. That's how you command respect, not by demanding it, but by living in a way that makes it impossible to deny. When you carry yourself with that kind of assurance, even your critics have to pause. Even those who disagree with you can't ignore that there's something steady and true about you. So don't rush to prove yourself. Don't scramble to be seen. Stay faithful. Keep building. Let the strength of your spirit, the discipline of your actions, and the peace on your face speak louder than words. There comes a moment when you must decide not just who you are, but what you will allow. It's not enough to be kind. It's not enough to be humble. If you want respect, you must set boundaries, not out of anger, not to push people away, but because peace has a price and clarity is a form of love. We live in a world where people mistake access for intimacy. Just because someone knows your name doesn't mean they deserve your story. Just because they're close doesn't mean they're safe. And just because you can help doesn't mean you always should. If you don't draw the line, people will walk through your life with muddy feet and expect you to thank them for it. Respect doesn't start with how others treat you. It begins with what you tolerate. If you allow people to disrupt your peace, they'll keep doing it. If you let them talk over your convictions, they'll only grow louder. And if you stay silent when your heart is being trampled, your silence becomes permission. The moment you decide you don't owe anyone full access to every part of you, something shifts. That's when respect begins to rise. Understand this. Boundaries are not bitterness. They are clarity. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are wisdom. When you say, "I'm not available for that conversation," or "I won't accept being spoken to like that," you're not rejecting the person. You're protecting your soul. Protecting your soul is not selfish. It is sacred. Too many people lose their voice because they never learned how to say no. But no is not a bad word. No is a holy word. It draws a line and says, "This is where I begin, and that is where I end." No isn't always about refusal. It's about value. When you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what builds you. If you want respect, you must first respect your own capacity. Some of you keep apologizing for your boundaries, explaining why you couldn't show up, why you didn't reply, why you finally said enough. But the truth is, the right people won't need an explanation. They honor your standards because they see your worth. And the wrong ones? They'll be offended no matter how gently you speak. So stop explaining yourself to those determined to misunderstand you. You don't owe them your peace just to prove your point. Yes, there will be times when your boundaries cost you relationships. But that's okay, because any connection that requires the death of your voice, your dignity, or your direction isn't a connection. It's a trap. And no amount of loyalty should ever demand that you betray yourself. If someone only values you when it's convenient, then they never truly valued you at all. True respect begins when you can look someone in the eye and say, "This is who I am. This is what I need," and refuse to apologize for it. That's not easy. People may call you distant, say you've changed, and maybe you have. Maybe you've grown. Maybe you've realized that loving people doesn't mean losing yourself. Being constantly available isn't strength. It's weakness in disguise. If you're always at the mercy of others, you're never walking in true power. Boundaries don't build walls, they build bridges. Bridges that carry truth, respect, and real understanding. You don't need to be harsh. You don't need to raise your voice. You just need to be clear. When you know what you stand for and where you draw the line, people will either adjust or walk away. Either way, you'll still be standing strong. And when you stand strong in your boundaries, you don't chase respect, it finds you. It follows because people see you're not shaken by pressure, not desperate for approval, not moved by manipulation. You know who you are, and you prove it by how you protect your time, your space, your peace, and your purpose. There is power in your word that many underestimate. What you say, and more importantly, what you do after you say it, becomes the measure of your character. People don't respect those who promise the world and deliver nothing. But when you keep your word, when you stand by your commitments no matter the cost, you build trust that commands respect without demanding it. It's easy to make promises in the heat of the moment, to agree just to be liked. But the true test of character comes when those promises grow heavy, when the cost is high, when no one is watching, when walking away would be easier. That's the moment when integrity either shines or fades. Integrity is rare because it's hard. It takes courage to follow through when the crowd turns its back. It takes strength to say, "I will do what I said I'd do," even when it costs you comfort, convenience, or approval. Being reliable isn't about praise. It's about knowing your word is your bond. And when you live that way, people notice. They may not say it, but they respect it deeply. There's a kind of respect money can't buy, fame can't bring, and charm can't fake. It only comes from being consistent and faithful to your word. It's built in quiet moments. When you show up early, finish the task no one else wants, or admit your mistakes and make them right. That's when people trust you. And trust is the soil where respect grows. Remember, keeping your word doesn't mean being perfect. It means being honest. If you make a mistake, own it. If life changes, communicate it. But never use words carelessly. Never promise what you don't intend to keep. Once trust is broken, respect is almost impossible to rebuild. Many lose it because they don't realize the weight their words carry. They speak lightly, make empty commitments, or walk away when things get tough. And when that happens, people begin to doubt everything you say, not because they want to, but because they have to. You might talk well, but if your actions don't match, your words turn into meaningless noise. Think for a moment. Who do you respect most in your life? The people you respect most are the ones who say what they mean and do what they say. They don't just talk about loyalty or honesty, they live it. Their word becomes both a shield and a light. Others know they won't be left in the dark or abandoned when trouble comes. In a world full of broken promises, being someone who keeps their word sets you apart. It makes you rare. It makes you valuable. And yes, it makes you respected. This silent power draws people to you. It builds bridges where others see walls. It opens doors no amount of begging could ever unlock. And here's the truth. You're not just earning respect from others when you keep your word. You're also building self-respect. Nothing strengthens your spirit more than knowing you can trust yourself. When your actions align with your promises, your confidence grows. You stand taller because you are reliable first to yourself, then to the world. So don't take your word lightly. Treat it as sacred. Speak only what you intend to carry out. When you make a promise, commit fully. When you say you'll do something, follow through no matter the challenge. In those moments, you're not just honoring your word, you're commanding respect. And respect built on integrity lasts. It doesn't rise and fall with popularity or circumstance. It remains steady and true. Those who keep their word don't chase respect. It finds them. Others lean on their character, their reliability, their honesty. So choose to be that person. The one whose word is their bond. The one who honors promises even when it costs something. The one whose integrity shines brighter than the loudest noise or deepest doubt. Because in a world full of distractions, there's a quiet power in knowing what not to engage with. Nothing commands respect more than someone who fiercely guards their time and energy. When you refuse to be pulled into foolishness, drama, or gossip, you send a message louder than words. You choose to live on higher ground, and you expect others to meet you there or step aside. Many confuse being busy with being important. They think that joining every argument, complaint, or petty quarrel proves their worth. But true strength is shown in what you refuse to participate in. The wisdom to say, "This doesn't deserve my time," is a mark of maturity. It shows you value your life too much to waste it on distractions that lead nowhere. Gossip, for example, is a slow poison. At first it seems harmless, just casual talk. But over time it erodes trust, breeds suspicion, and destroys relationships. When you refuse to engage in gossip, you become a safe place for honesty and peace. People realize you're not someone who stirs the pot. You're someone who keeps it clean. That alone commands respect because you protect what others neglect. Drama is another trap. It feeds on chaos and emotion, pulling people in with false excitement, but leaving them drained and confused. By rising above it, by refusing to be baited into needless conflict, you show strength and discipline. You prove your peace is not for sale and your life is not a stage for someone else's unrest. Foolishness surrounds us, reckless words, impulsive actions, pointless quarrels. To engage with it is to lower yourself to a level where respect cannot exist. But when you rise above it, responding with calm, patience, and even silence, you reveal a power that noise can never compete with. People respect those who control their environment by first controlling themselves. You don't have to justify why you won't argue. You don't owe anyone an explanation for walking away from negativity. In fact, the more you explain, the more you invite unnecessary conflict. True respect comes from setting a clear standard without apology. When you choose silence over shouting, peace over chaos, and wisdom over foolishness, people begin to recognize your boundaries. They learn that your time and energy are not to be taken lightly. Picture this: a room full of petty disputes, yet you remain calm, steady, and unaffected. Your very presence becomes a reminder that there is a better way, a way of grace, strength, and self-control. That kind of presence is magnetic. It draws people in because it radiates safety, clarity, and peace. And once others see that in you, respect naturally follows. There is biblical wisdom that says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath." It reminds us that how we respond often matters more than what happens to us. When you refuse to add fuel to the fire, when you decline gossip, when you step away from drama, you are choosing the gentle answer. And that gentle answer has the power to disarm hostility, dissolve tension, and open the door for respect. This doesn't mean you ignore real problems or avoid necessary confrontation. It means you choose your battles wisely. You don't waste energy fighting over every minor issue. Instead, you focus on what truly matters: your integrity, your mission, your peace. That kind of wisdom earns respect because it shows you have depth and discernment. People will test this in you. They'll try to drag you into their drama or provoke you with gossip. But your refusal to engage is not weakness, it's strength. It's a declaration that you will not be controlled by the chaos around you. And strength commands respect because it offers stability in a world that often feels unstable. By choosing silence over noise, restraint over impulse, and peace over conflict, you teach a lesson no words could ever deliver. You show that respect isn't given to the loudest or the most aggressive. It belongs to the wise, the steady, the self-controlled. You become a living example that real respect is not demanded by force, but earned through character. So guard your peace fiercely. Protect your energy like the precious gift it is. Refuse to waste your days in foolishness, drama, and gossip. When you do this, you'll never have to beg for respect. It will be drawn to you naturally, like a magnet to steel. That is the quiet power of true self-control. It's easy to look strong when life feels smooth, when the sun is shining and everything goes your way. But real strength and real respect are earned in the moments that test you most. When you're insulted, overlooked, or pushed to the edge, your response reveals the true measure of your character. Anyone can explode in anger. Anyone can lash out when provoked. But the one who controls their tongue in conflict, who chooses calm over chaos, becomes someone others cannot help but respect. Self-control is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. It takes far more courage to hold your peace than to shout your pain. It takes discipline to stay composed instead of losing yourself in the heat of the moment. Think about the people you admire, not just for their success, but for their dignity. You respect those who keep their cool under pressure, who answer with grace when attacked, who refuse to sink to the level of insult or provocation. That kind of restraint is a silent command. It says, I am bigger than this moment. I am not defined by your words. I stand firm in who I am. The truth is, the tongue has the power to bring life or death. It can build or it can destroy. When anger controls your words, you give away your power. You become a slave to emotions instead of their master. But when you choose silence, patience, and measured words, you take your power back. You show that you're guided not by circumstances, but by conviction. Respect follows those who refuse to be baited, because in that split second of choice, who you really are is revealed. Do you rise above, or do you sink to their level? Do you respond with wisdom, or do you react in wrath? The one who keeps their composure sends a message louder than any shout. They are not driven by impulse, but anchored in principle. True strength isn't about denying hurt or anger. It's about channeling those emotions into something greater. It's about responding, not reacting. Every time you lose control, you chip away at the respect others have for you. But each time you hold steady, you build a fortress around your reputation. And remember, this isn't only about how others see you. It's also about how you see yourself. Nothing strengthens your spirit more than knowing you are master of your emotions. When you refuse to let anger dictate your actions, you protect your dignity, your future, and your peace. Life will always bring people who test your patience. Those who speak to wound you. Those who try to provoke a reaction. But when you respond with self-control, you strip them of their power. Their words turn to dust. They wanted a fight. You gave them grace. They expected chaos. You gave them peace. And peace is powerful. Peace commands respect. When you carry calm in the middle of storms, people can't help but say, there's something different about this person. They are not shaken by the winds of conflict. They stand firm, like a city on a hill. Visible and steady. When others crumble under pressure, you remain tall. When rage consumes the crowd, you are the voice of reason. When most are quick to attack, you choose patience. And that is the kind of person people follow, the kind they respect. But never forget, self-control is a discipline. It doesn't appear overnight. It must be cultivated. It comes from knowing who you are, from living with a purpose greater than fleeting emotions, and from understanding that respect is earned in the quiet moments of restraint. So when offense burns hot, breathe. When anger rises, pause. When tempted to strike back, choose silence or a gentle word. That is true strength. That is how respect is commanded, not demanded. There is power and clarity when you focus on your own path and tune out the noise of opinions. In a world where everyone has a comment, a judgment, or an expectation, it's easy to be swayed, to bend with every breeze of praise or criticism. But respect does not belong to those who chase approval. It belongs to those who remain steady, consistent, and anchored in purpose. When you make your mission the center of your life, when you lock in on what you are called to do, you send a clear message. not with words, but with actions. People respect that kind of clarity. They are drawn to it because it reflects strength and conviction. It says, "I know where I am going, and I will not be moved." That kind of focus commands respect instantly. Too many lose themselves chasing validation, distracted by opinions and approval. But the focused person knows their worth is not dependent on applause. Their confidence comes from within, from a deep understanding of who they are and what they are meant to accomplish. There is freedom in that kind of focus, a freedom others admire but struggle to imitate. When you are truly focused, you don't waste time worrying about who's talking, what they're saying, or how they try to undermine you. You stay on your path. You keep working. You keep growing. And in the end, your consistency becomes your testimony. Respect is drawn to consistency. It follows the person who shows up every day, ready to work no matter the circumstances. It honors those who don't quit when things get hard or when others doubt them. That kind of consistency speaks louder than words. It tells the world, "I am committed. I am serious. I am worth your respect." When you stay focused on your mission, you're not only earning respect, you're also protecting your peace. A focused mind leaves less room for distractions, less room for doubt, and less room for fear. Your attention becomes a fortress, and your spirit grows unshakable. You don't have to fight for respect. Your focus makes it inevitable. Yes, voices will try to pull you away from your purpose. They'll whisper you're not enough, you're too small, you'll never succeed. But the focused person hears those voices and keeps moving. They don't waste time defending themselves. They keep their eyes on the prize and their feet steady on the path. Greatness is not about pleasing everyone. It's about staying true to the call on your life. And when you walk forward with unwavering faith and discipline, respect follows you like a shadow. It doesn't depend on popularity or applause. Respect depends on your commitment to your mission. The focused person doesn't need to explain their journey or justify their choices. Their progress, their growth, and their discipline speak louder than words. People watch and wonder how they keep going in a world full of noise and distraction. The answer is simple. They refuse to be moved by every passing opinion. They choose to focus on their calling. And that is the key to commanding respect. Not by fighting for it, not by demanding it, but by earning it through clarity, consistency, and unwavering dedication to purpose. When you live this way, people cannot help but respect you. You've shown them what it means to be disciplined, strong, and true. So today, choose to focus, not out of selfishness, but out of faithfulness. Focus on your mission, your growth, and your values. Tune out the noise that tries to pull you away. Stay steady, stay consistent, and keep moving forward. Respect won't come as a favor. It will come as the natural result of your dedication. Because when you focus on your mission and stay true to your purpose, respect is no longer something you seek. It's something you command. Wishing you health, happiness, and remember to subscribe to my channel, Mindset Daily.